Oh, it's so wonderful to see you again. Come in and unwind. Welcome back to the Celestial Café, a podcast for the magical mind.
So come, take a seat. Would you like something sweet? A star drop potion for the soul? Maybe an enchanted eclair as a treat?
I just baked a batch of warm cookies with a dash of moonlight. I wonder what will happen if you take a little bite.
Here is your bewitching beverage. Let each sip melt your worries away. It's time to open your mind. I wonder what magic awaits us today.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Celestial Café Podcast. This is episode 5 of the recorded podcast versions up on podcasting apps. This is a podcast where we meet up twice a month now. I forget. We've upgraded. Twice a month to chat about a variety of witchy related topics. Once a month around the full moon to talk about the full moon and the astrology related to that, and also the time of the year and maybe Sabbats and stuff that are going on. And a second time to chat about a variety magical topic. And today's episode is a variety topic. So we're going to be chatting about our daily routines and how we fit witchcraft into our busy daily lives and how we keep every day a little bit magical. I am one of your hosts, Hey Shady Lady, and I have with me a lovely panel of
Witches!
Yeah, I was like, of witches.
which consists of
Dukesley!
Fuchsia.
And Pither the Fairwood Witch.
One day we're going to nail this introduction.
Yeah, we'll figure it out one day. We're getting there. So if y'all are listening on podcasting platforms, we are available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and other podcasting platforms, but we are a video podcast as well. We live stream recording this on my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/HeyShadyLady, and then we have a video archive version of this up on YouTube for you. You can find all of our links at our website at celestialcafe.org if you would like to find us on any of the social media sites or our YouTube or anything like that. So, yeah, I guess we're going to go ahead and jump into this episode. So I guess we'll start by, saying what's up. How's it going? And this is the Celestial Café where we really enjoy our beverages. So
Yes.
What is everybody sipping on today? I've got 3 drinks again for no actual reason. I
always have 3 drinks.
My regular bottle of water, that's just my backup. I have my special little mineral water or whatever. I don't know why I called it that. It's just water that I put strawberries and blueberries and pineapples and mint leaves in. But I guess that's the point of it. I would be getting minerals from it. And then I have my Dr. Pepper because
Hoggers!
I need some caffeine and some carbonation today.
Nice.
So that's my sippy. So let us know in chat what y'all are sipping on too. Dukesley, what are you drinking in this cute little coffee cup?
Thanks. Isn't this adorable?
Yeah.
It looks like a cake. That's
I
kind of
couldn't tell if it was like
it.
an ice cream cone or a cupcake, but it's so cute.
No, it's just a vibe, I think. But it looks so much like cake that I had to get it. What is this? Peach apricot tea.
Ooh.
Yummy.
Very yummy. I really like it. So I had like an agave problem because it's so smooth when it comes out of the squeezy bottle that I didn't know any was coming out. I poured it in a dark room.
Oh, the agave
So I was
syrup stuff? That's the sweetener that you like to use?
Yeah,
Okay.
I use agave. Yeah. And I was like, what? Is anything coming out? And I just saw it like pouring out like at Mach speed. So this is a very, very sweet cup of tea. But when I just wanted just a little like, but I didn't think anything was coming out. But I'm not complaining. I'm always down for sweet, delicious tea. And water in the classic hot pink water bottle. That's all I got today.
Classic. Fuchsia, what you sipping on?
Well, I've got my water. Everyone stay hydrated. And I've got my Coke Zero that is a combination of vanilla and cherry, but it's not the vanilla cherry Coke. I just had cherry Coke and I had vanilla Coke, and I mixed them together.
It's the Fuchsia exclusive mix.
So I poured a can of vanilla Coke into it because I thought I thought I used up the rest of my cherry, and then I got to my desk and there was my bottle of cherry Coke. I was like, oh, there we go. But also I have some Tulsi tea today that I will be reading my tea leaves from later, so to see what's up. So,
Cute. I like that little heart-shaped spoon.
Yeah.
It's got little
That's
hearts
adorable.
on the
Tip too.
Is that a
Yeah.
bottle
And
opener
too.
too, or
No,
okay?
I don't. It doesn't look like it's big enough for
Uh-huh.
bottles, but yeah, it's really cute.
That's cool.
And Panthera, what you sipping today?
I am a full-on heathen. I've got Taco Bell over here, and I've got this Mountain Dew.
Green screened Mountain Dew.
Green screen Mountain Dew. I can pretend it's water, maybe. So, yeah. So Elmirian Nightwood, I saw you're drinking Mountain Dew too. So cheers. But I should have water too, but I forgot to refill it. So you know what? This will just carry me through. We're good.
Wow, I'm sensitive today. That heart-shaped tea strainer almost had me like bursting into tears. I thought it was so beautiful. What the heck?
It's
Something
really
Good
cute.
vibes coming up.
It's really cute. So yeah.
So, today we are going to be taking a question from one of you lovely Celestial Café Star Drops that was left in our Discord server. So we have a question from Crowning Carol Ann, who's hanging out in chat. Hello, Crowning Carol Ann. How are you?
Hi.
And we are going to be chatting about the question that says, I was just thinking I'd love to hear y'all talk about how you make space for your practice in your everyday lives, like in your routines, and then also how you set up physical space for it, if that makes sense and isn't too invasive. I'm trying to create a manageable routine with a peaceful space to practice and would love to know if y'all have any advice surrounding that. Thank you so much, Carol Ann, for the wonderful suggestion. I think this will make a great topic for us to chat about. Just what does our daily practice look like? Where do we go to practice? What does the practice actually entail? I think this is in some ways like a bit of a demystification process, because like I think a lot of times when people hear that like I'm a witch or I practice magic or whatever, it sounds like a lot more intense than it actually is. It sounds like there's, everyone kind of gets this visual in their head that comes from TV, right? So we're going to talk about our personal practices. And of course, this is going to vary from person to person. There's no wrong or right way to eat a Reese's or to practice witchcraft.
Dare you
I mean,
say
I guess
it.
there might be some wrong ways, like,
I was going to say it.
but
Let's not jump the gun here.
But there's many ways to practice, and the ways are it's a lot like people who stream or work out. Even I think fitness might be a more apt example. Like a fitness routine looks different for every body, every physical body, depending on your own strengths, weaknesses, needs, and things like that. So it's the same thing here. Time is going to play a big role. Money plays a big role in the material objects that you have available to you, but you don't need anything physical to be spiritual.
Yeah.
That's
Another thing that does play a big role that I don't think any of us have to deal with this is like living with people who might not be as accepting and having to like kind of hide that or keep it much more private. So that can be a factor.
where you're kind of feeling a little stuck in the broom closet. Yeah.
And we can maybe talk about that kind of at the end. We can kind of take what we do and translate it to how would you do this if you were undercover.
Protecting yourself.
Yes,
this is about our personal lives.
Honestly,
so it's not going to look the same for everyone.
I really think like a lot of the stuff that I do in the daily that could easily be disguised. Like you got your candle collection, just put them in a drawer and stay there for if the power goes out, easy.
I'm doing magic right now as I stir my Mountain Dew.
You just keep in your closet or your pantry for the kitchen anyway.
Exactly. Yeah. I find that a lot of magical practices outside of the big buildup of spell work and it's the big part is intention, right? Is because we all stir our coffee, we all tie our shoes, but if we do those things with intention, such as tying our shoes and like carrying that magic of like by me tying this knot, I carry protection with me. It sort of helps me be more grounded to the earth. Or a very famous and typical one is stirring clockwise increases an energetic value, and then stirring counterclockwise cleanses. Right?
Yeah,
it's those
draws
little...
in or banishes. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's all about just mindfulness and awareness, because there's many times in the day I'm just stirring my thing, I'm not thinking about it, right? And to me, I don't want to necessarily equate that to like, okay, I'm doing magic without me trying, but because there are moments that I do try, and I'm like, okay, like, whew, I really need a little bit of extra energy today, so in my orange blossom tea, I'm going to be stirring clockwise to help enhance.
Not me hearing the tea stirring and being like, oh God, sink into the couch. Sorry. I just rewatched Get Out the other day, so it's like fresh in my brain.
We need a tally for how many shady movie references.
Do I do that a lot? I feel like I'm such a like a pop culture nerd. I'm sorry. I'm always like, oh, this is like that thing in Stranger Things. This is like that. This is like Harry Styles. This is like.
You're very in touch with pop culture, and I'm here for it.
I actually just went to a workshop last week that was magic and pop culture, and bringing in to use into our our regular witchcraft. I was like, we could totally do an episode on pop culture.
Yeah, that would be great. That'd be really cool.
Or at least Shady could. I don't know if I could, because I have not seen a lot of things.
I would be super down. I would be super down. I'm always loving watching new things. So I actually want to do a whole esoteric dive on like symbolism in Stranger Things and everything. I love, I love my Illuminati shit. So breaking down like Dark Crystal, like there's just so many things that are just hidden in plain sight that do have a subconscious effect on you. So I think that it would be really interesting to deep dive.
Have you watched, sorry, this is slightly off topic, but have you watched Over the Garden Wall, Ty?
I haven't, no.
Okay.
What?
Neither have I.
Oh, what?
Is it an animated movie?
Oh my God.
It's an animated short series.
It's a series,
you could sit down and watch it in one night.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like every episode is like 15 minutes.
Celestial
It's dripping
Café
in symbolism.
Celestial Café
seriously.
movie night. Oh my God.
It's a very good fall watch.
I watch it every Samhain.
Yeah.
It's my
cool.
go-to.
Okay.
It's so good.
I'm
I just thought
curious.
I'd ask.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Just recommend it after.
Well,
I feel like you could get a lot from it.
I was thinking about daily practices, and there's something that when you were just talking about how you're mindlessly stirring your tea all the time, and like twofold here, and this may or may not be related to magic, but it's having such an impact on me. So whenever I get TMI, no, whenever I get undressed at the end of the night, right before when you're changing into PJs and stuff, like I'll just like pull my leggings off and just like rip them off, right? And they're like inside out, and I just toss them in a little pile, right? So I've lately been like mindfully taking them off so that they're, because then when I have to go do laundry, and I would wear nothing but leggings, okay, legging life. But when I go to do laundry at the end of the week, I have to go and turn every single pair of leggings back to the right way, or pull all of the sleeves inside of my shirt, turn my shirts back to the right side because I'm gonna have to hang them up anyway. So, and I've started just over the last couple of days, like catching myself when I'm like changing clothes, and I'm like, okay, let me go ahead and write the leggings now so that I don't have this big task at the end of the week, because I can just do it right now. And it's been the same thing with maintaining my room, and I'm the world's messiest person, truly. And I think people that see me now would not know that. I look like a neat freak now, but 4 or 5 years ago, you could never see my floor because it was just covered in stuff. And over the last couple of years, I've completely transformed the way that I function on a normal basis, and it takes daily mindfulness and intention. And it may or may not be magical, but like even the same thing with like today when I was blow drying my hair, my bangs are like really good looking today, soft flex, but because normally when I'm blow drying my hair out of the shower, I'm just like, oh, get this done. I want this done. I don't care. I want to be out of the bathroom. I'm done with shower time. Ugh. And today I was like, I intentionally showered at a less temperature, so I wasn't like I don't like getting out of a hot shower and then blow drying with hot heat, and then I'm sweaty again, and it just is so. I intentionally showered at a less heat, and then I had the blow dryer on lower so that I could stay there longer, mindfully blow drying my hair, right? And and just like brushing through each stroke of my, like thinking about the, like being present in the moment, and all of these little daily tasks, like, you know, and then I come in, like just looking at this, come in from taking a shower, throw everything on my bed, wet towels everywhere, robe everywhere, other clothes, getting dressed. And then the next thing I know, my room's messy again. But if I take that moment there to like go ahead and hang the towel up, just put the robe back, then I don't have this huge cleaning task at the end of the night. And I to me, this could just be like productivity. This could be a productivity chat right now, or like a, you know, but at the same time, like the mindful intention behind, like, I'm going to go ahead and pull the legs back into my leggings. I'm going to go ahead and flip my shirt inside out. I'm going to intentionally shower at a lower temperature so that I can do this for a longer period of time, blow dry my hair better. So all of these different things. Cold shower is good for your skin, but God, I love just burning my skin off. It's so fun.
I like both.
I'm a lava showerer.
I think in general, witchcraft and witchiness, there needs to be some sort of grounding and mindfulness connected to it. When you're frantically throwing your energy everywhere, I think that it just as equally you're throwing your magic everywhere. It can be just unsafe for you, for everyone around you. It's irresponsible to yourself. And something that I've been talking about a lot in my life is I'm looking out for my future self oftentimes nowadays. I used to be a chronic... Sorry, I just thought I was going to say a chronic loser. What I mean by that... what I mean by being a chronic loser is that I lose stuff often.
Okay.
No.
Yeah, that's what I meant too.
Yeah. And so my mindset now is like, okay, when I now choose to, and I'm very verbal, so I'm like, okay, the sticker, I really want it. So I will say out loud, the sticker will be next to my ring light. Right. And even that, like, speaking aloud is such a magic, and exiting of the throat chakra. And it first starts in the heart, right? Because I care about myself and I hate losing things. And I want to look out for my future self. And so it starts there, goes out through the throat chakra, which is such a manifestation area, exits. And now I don't lose things anymore. I'm no longer a chronic loser. I'm a winner. And I know where my shit is. And it's important, I think, to sort of have that kind of mindset when it comes to daily witchcraft, you know? Like, I think that being present, being aware, being involved rather than just being like, oh, I didn't do my daily witchy thing today. You know, because that's also a mindset where there's so much imposter syndrome in the witchcraft sphere, especially for newbies, thinking that they're not witchy enough, or how do I know when I'm a witch, right? That kind of mindset. It's like
the moment you decide you are.
Yeah, and the only thing the most important thing, like I said earlier, is just the intention, and intention requires grounding. Intention requires awareness and mindfulness and the choice to be involved in the magic. Other than spells that you can slowly builds and slowly grows and moves. But on a daily basis, it's mostly just okay, so I'm going to jump into this for a moment. You know, I think that's important.
I was going back to Ty's just whole mention of cleanliness and everything, and that is a very big, like, just being mindful of that. Not just keeping a clean space, but being mindful, because, like, I know when my desk is cluttered, like, I'm cluttered.
Your mind is cluttered.
I have a very bad habit of getting a pile of clothes right on the floor behind my desk, which is where my altar is, like right in front of my altar. And then I'm like, oh, like, the spirits are not going to like this. Like, if I go to do any spells or I put out like an offering for Aphrodite and there's just a pile of clothes in front
And
of
that's
him.
very
Like,
still energy.
It's a physical
you know?
manifestation as well.
Yeah.
Like,
and so like that's one of the things I have to be conscious of, because I am like a very organized person, but I will let clutter build up.
I'm a clutter bug.
So,
Me too.
and it's one of those things like
My
that
friend
is...
told me the other day my aesthetic was cluttercore, and I was like, all right.
I love that. That's very dragon core.
I want to
to
be a minimalist so bad, but that's never,
I can't.
ever going to happen.
I call my aesthetic like old British Museum meets Witch in the Woods. Like, that's it. But going off of the altar, there was, I can't remember which of Jason's Miller's books says this, but he mentions about how everything that's on your altar, expect it to multiply. So like when you're setting, I think it was the money book, the financial sorcery book, but because he talks about making a space specifically for like money magic, and you know, if you put an offering of money there, expect it to multiply. If you take the time to make this clean, this space that you're at clean, expect that to mirror in your thoughts. And the same thing, if you let it get dusty, that multiplies. Like that's going to start affecting that, like lack of care is going to start affecting the rest of your life.
It's
and your
been
space.
so cool to like, I got this little thing, it's actually like probably a makeup brush. I don't know what it is. It doesn't matter. It's this little tiny puff brush, and it just sits on my desk. I've got it in my little pencil holder, but every day I just kind of like brush all of my little appliances, my little audio interface, my stream deck, all of the bottoms of my monitors. And I just kind of like shoo the dust all around. And it just makes me feel like my space stays cleaner so much longer. And when dust starts, the thing for me is like, I'm such a photograph person. I love taking pictures of things and whenever I take a picture of something cute and then there's just like a cat hairball in the background of the picture. I'm like, this whole picture's ruined because there's just cat hair everywhere.
There's just like one stray hair. Like whenever I take pictures of like tarot cards, like there's always just like one stray cat hair, just like, and that's all I can focus on.
I know. I make an effort every day to clean my desk too. I use this little mushroom vacuum.
Oh, that's
and
a vacuum?
It's not cute.
Like, do you have anything that's not ridiculously cute?
I know, right?
It's a priority, and honestly, I think that's important too. Like I think a part of the magical process too is just making it palatable for you. Mm-hmm. Like to me, cuteness is magic.
Yes.
And so because like I think everyone is really caught up with like the dark witch aesthetic, the academia, the old dusty books, but witchcraft can also be whimsical and lighthearted and colorful and kawaii. And it's just as it's just as valid to
which is why like when I look at my book of shadows and it's like all pastels and everything, I'm like, this is not anyone else's
right?
book of shadows.
It's what's important to you and what you find beautiful and what you find powerful, right? You're finding the power in that way of looking. Whereas I'm kind of the opposite. I am kind of like just like a look at our color palettes.
Yeah, no, true.
I very much like the dark fantasy vibes and everything, because like one of the things that's always just drawn me to magic is like and I'm just a big fantasy nerd. Like I love D&D. I love Lord of the Rings. So when I think of my inspiration in magic and so on, those stories and everything do have, obviously I'm not like, I'm going to cast a fireball, but like it inspires a lot of what of what I do and so on. So yeah, there's magic in whatever is important to us, right? But this is kind of going off of what you said a little while ago, Dukesley, but to me, witchcraft is like, it's a magical practice, right? But it's almost a way of life to me too.
It is.
And there's a reason it's called a subtle art. Like it's definitely something that once you're in the mindset of it, it becomes so much easier to start like infusing it into all the little things. Yeah. Yeah. And sometimes it just takes opening your mind to you're taking off your clothes example, Shady, actually reminded me of like, what a great way to cleanse yourself at the end of a day. If you just came home from a hard day at work, to just mindfully, as you remove the clothes from yourself, be removing that negative energy that has attached itself to that clothing and yourself through the day.
Yeah.
That's what I've started trying to do whenever I'm showering.
I do that as well.
When I'm
great.
showering, I imagine that all of the stuff that I'm scrubbing off of my body is like the grunge, the toxicity, the negativity, the things that I don't want to carry with me anymore, all of that kind of stuff. And then I watch, but so much about witchcraft is in your mind. And you have like, you need to be fully immersed in the visual. It's like meditation. It's like inducing lucid dreams and stuff like that. Like you have to, like, I like to visualize a sludge on my body and then put ideas into that sludge of what this is that's weighing me down and covering my body with like gah. And then as I'm scrubbing, I will visualize it like Howl's Moving Castle, just dripping all the way off of my body, and watching it go down the drain, and then it's gone. I've released it and it's scrubbed from my body, and and then you step out of the shower lighter. I love the cleansing process of it, like the obvious cleansing process of a shower, but the spiritual cleansing that you can do as well.
Yeah, I was going to talk about in my daily workings, I do shower. Like I like cleansing, like you have to be intentional with it, obviously, but like I do cleansing, and then I take my body wash and I make a sigil of whatever I want to bring in, whatever I want to embody that day. I put a sigil on like my little loofah and then rub it into my skin.
Oh my God, daily
to
showers.
Bring it in.
Mm-hmm. Holy shit.
So
yeah, that's impressive. The daily shower.
Well, I worked a very physical job. I was sweating a lot.
True.
So
my depression says self-care. Who cares?
or when you do shower, like cleanse, like I let the water, like first thing I let the water just run over me, and then to cleanse it, and then I make sigils with my body wash and bring that.
I know everyone
in,
thinks of like these self-care witchy magical baths as like this low lit bathroom with candles lit and crystals adorning everything and all like flower petals sprinkled.
Bathtub
and
doesn't even work. So.
While that is like, I mean, I'm way too big for a bathtub. It sucks, but it's true. Like, while that is like a really nice experience to have and can be spiritual in its own way, it's like, you can achieve the same thing in a shower, in a 5-minute shower. Like,
so I actually kind of disagree.
Oh shit.
So there's two
fist
different
fight?
things in my opinion. So there's different levels, right? There's different levels to everything. And I do think that to an extent, putting in the effort to do a full spiritual bath and pick a specific day at a specific time and, you know, get your moon water and infuse it with the herbs that you want and to light your candles, right? That is a whole different experience to me than doing my visual cleansing in the shower.
I guess I don't mean to
daily.
dismiss that experience or dismiss that practice
They're
of
just
it.
different. Right. And but yes, you don't necessarily have to do the big bath ritual to be a witch. That's not a requirement. That you don't have to do that daily, weekly, monthly, or at all if you're not feeling it.
And it's the same thing with
but
like
both are valid.
Like you could mindfully like go through your herbs and pick out and mix your own tea concoction every day and like have a spell in mind while you're doing it or an intention in mind while you're doing it. And that could be this whole, and then you light a candle and you have an intention and you know, all of this stuff that you could do for a cup of tea. And then, or you can do that, sure, but you like a daily practice of it could be as simple as mindful stirring. Like, and that's you're going to stir the tea anyway, and that will not change your routine at all. And you can, so we're talking about how to incorporate
different things for different instances.
Yeah. So
for sure. The every day is not the big monthly ritual.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And the key is like the difference between a little manifestation and a big ritual. And there are times and places for rituals.
For both.
And yes. And, but like
layers
in
is like
the
so
average person's life, it's unrealistic to do even one big ritual like that every day. Like, like save, like.
Well, some of them ceremonial magicians though, like shout out to y'all. Y'all do some crazy stuff. Not gonna lie, was it like the lesser banishing ritual of the pentagram and all? They got like all kinds of daily stuff that they do. And shout out to you guys. I can't. But
I'm glad you brought up like working magicians, because I think that when people start to go into witchcraft, that's what they picture is like the daily
drawing the chalk on the floor and
yes.
setting up your candles. Yeah.
Yeah. And going back to like the shower, the 5-minute, 10-minute shower versus the very potent spiritual bathing, both are just as valid as the other, and both beget different reasons to do both, you know?
Yes, different reasons for different things.
Different, and that's where intention also is relevant, where I think that it's good to do that one big magical push every now and again, but it's also very draining. So that's why it's good to do little spoonfuls of witchcraft throughout your day.
It makes me think of like fitness again, where like
exactly.
I can go on a 4-hour, 10-mile hike once a month if I'm lucky. But I could also walk down the street. I live on a mountain, so it's a mini hike, like walk down the road of my mountain, which would take me about 15-20 minutes daily, and that will build up my endurance and stamina gently over time. So taking these little mindful showers where I'm if you're someone who's getting into this or something, you could just start, instead of having to do these big production ritual experiences where you're also probably going to be kind of judging yourself and feeling imposter syndrome, and like you could start with okay, when I take my shower this morning, I'm going to visualize the sludge leaving my body or whatever. Like you could start to, I can walk down the street all the way and then walk back to my mailbox instead of just walking down the mailbox. And that's my first baby step to the 4-hour hike, right? And to the big production spiritual bath. And this is the same with like the problem I see in the witchy niche or community or whatever is materialism and this need to have all of these objects all the time and spend a lot of money buying hundreds of dollars worth of crystals and herbs and candles and what's the Alistair? No. Altar accessories and things that like you feel like you need to have all of these things. And you don't. You could literally just be a naked little human laying in a forest floor and have a total spiritual experience and have a spiritual practice. You don't need a bunch of. I feel like I say that all the time, but I'm such a. Oh, I'm gonna start hiking. I need to go fill up a $200 Amazon shopping cart, and I don't want people to do that. They can do it because for me, a reason why I do that is when I have not more objects, but when I have like a nice object or something, it makes me value or encourage
very
me. I'm
stuff motivated. Yeah.
Like I don't want to. Now it's more tangible. This idea that I had rather than.
And I take it. I respect it more because I've invested into it.
I'm very.
I also have an issue with perfectionism with that, though.
Say what?
What was that?
Oh, I also have an issue with just perfectionism in that, though. Like I need the best thing to be able to do the best. Like, why would I waste my time with the lesser thing if it's not going to get me the same results as the greater thing and stuff like that? Like that mindset.
Yeah. It's hard. And I know you know this. I know this is obvious. I'm going to say this, but like there is no perfection in witchcraft. Like,
that's
like,
been a hard lesson to learn.
If it works for you, it works perfect.
To all the people just starting their practice, like, don't hold yourself back from practicing waiting till you have all of the knowledge, because most of the knowledge you learn by doing.
Yeah, and there's no way to have all of the knowledge. There's no way.
Yeah.
And everyone connects with their magic differently. Like, not all of us are hearth witches. Not all of us are lunar witches. Not all of us are doing the same thing. And not all of us connect to the same things the same way that all of us have different main tarot decks, the way that all astrologers read astrology slightly different from each other, you know? This is such a
I don't even know what I am
practice.
These days. Like, what am I? What do I do? Like, I don't know. I just do whatever.
Right, and labels are a tricky, slippery slope as well. It creates identity, but I think it also boxes us sometimes.
tend to want to avoid them because I feel like if I claim a title of something, then suddenly there are standards that I'm being measured against. And, oh, you say you're a hearth witch, but you're not doing X, Y, Z the way that you're supposed to be. This was the problem I had when I was first stepping into like pagan or Wiccan, trying to figure out what word defined me. And while like attaching to that word at all gave me more of a sense of belonging with a community of people, I still was like, I'm in this community, but I don't strongly identify with the word because I don't want to be held to your weird standards. Like I'm just trying to find a space to fit in. And I feel like I fit in here. And I don't know. It's the same thing I have with my gender, sexuality, like the word for it. It's like, I don't want to put a word on it because then I feel like I have rules to follow. And Sagittarius moon,
which is all
I don't follow rules.
And like ultimately at the end of the day, everything's an illusion. So the least we could do is just look out for ourselves as individuals and lean into what makes sense and what are within our needs and within our means as well. Like, and the same applies to witchcraft, of course. It's not a one size fits all. There's a lot of gatekeeping. There's a lot of expectation. There's a lot of rules. I said that with air quotes for the podcasters. And it's a lot of... Now, I say this about tarot and I say this about astrology too, but like also witchcraft is just a conversation. It's about us learning about ourselves by discussing it with others, which is why spaces like this is important. Because I think that the only way that we can learn about other options is through connecting with others. And I think that when it comes to like daily routines as well, it's like we have to make sure that, like, for me, and like I said, this is such a popular one, the stirring of the tea. It's
sink into the couch. I'm just kidding. Sorry.
It might mean nothing to you. It might be like, what? That and that's another thing too. I think that with daily witchcraft, when you put your intention out there, I think another good follow-up is at the end of the day, reflect. Did that like work for me? You know, like do I feel that made just, and that's a very subtle magic, right? So you're not going to have this amazing day because you stirred your tea clockwise, right? Or maybe you did, but I would like to think it was not that alone, to be fair. It's I'm sure that maybe it helped propel some energy along, or maybe it just helped you shift a mindset at that moment. Oftentimes I find that it's very subconscious.
So subconscious. That's exactly what I was about to say.
Yeah.
Because like if you're sitting here and you're holding a liquid in your hand and you are mindfully stirring and you are thinking, I'm putting in, I'm going to have a good day, positive vibes, whatever phrase. And I am imbuing this into this liquid. And then you consume the liquid. Subconsciously, you understand that liquid goes into your body, integrates with your cells and becomes your body. So in some ways, you could call it a placebo effect, even like in some way, but that
which is real,
and
still works.
That's where the
either way,
I'm
right?
like magic, like and that's the whole point behind a lot of it is your mind and your thoughts create your reality.
You can convince yourself of anything. Truly. And I mean that both in a good and a bad way, right? Like we can convince ourselves of anything. The mind is so powerful.
Me being a toxic hypochondriac, fuck.
It's
I like this phrase in chat. For me, magic is a type of spicy psychology.
Exactly.
I love that.
Yes, 100%.
It is.
It's just science we don't understand entirely yet, right? And psychology and magic to me are so closely intertwined.
There's overlap for sure.
Does it, whether stirring that coffee in the morning for motivation and you got your project done that day, whether it was actually you stirring it or not, or whether it was placebo effect, if it got you that result, does it really matter, right? Like you're still manifesting that reality for yourself.
Yeah, you still took the effort, you still took the mindset, and you just helped rewire your brain a little bit. To me, like every little bit of magic is just a small muscle flex, you know, like it's a bicep curl for your intuition, for your brain, that just sort of helps strengthen that muscle that connects you to the innate magic that I believe surrounds everyone and surrounds everything.
Yeah.
Because I think that as an extension of this, I think that everyone is psychic in some way, but some people flex that muscle harder than others. And when you don't flex the muscle, it's weak, and you can't connect to it as well. I think the same thing applies to the daily exploration of many spells and many intentions and mantra and meditation, which in my case is a witchy magical experience as well, because it connects me deeper to me, which also I think it's also important to know why you want to include witchcraft into your daily practice. To me, witchcraft brings me home to myself. It makes me feel whole. It makes me feel complete. It makes life more fun. It makes life more vibrant. But to someone else, they might do witchcraft because they're looking for a result, which is also valid. They for me, it just adds to my flow of life. But to someone else, they're like, I need money, I need protection. I need security. So I lean into witchcraft daily to create that pillar for me to lean into. For me, it's more flow based and sort of doing that. So I think that's another important thing to think about like, what's the point of you participating in witchcraft?
That's a great question. I feel like we should kind of go around the circle with that one. So if you guys don't mind, I'll go next with that. But for me, one of the main things that drew me to witchcraft so much was I was starting to lose the magic of life. I was in a spot where I was very depressed. I was working 4 10s a week, and my days off were just like nothing. Like I don't know. Like I felt like I was working, coming home, sitting on my computer, working, coming home, sitting on my computer. I mean, I do that kind of now still, but in a different way. That's a lot more enjoyable.
But now you're mindful.
And like, no shame to anybody who's living that way or who enjoys that. But for me, I felt like I was no longer fulfilling myself. I was like, what am I doing? Like, do I really want to spend, and like, I freaking love games, but when I look back on my life, do I care about those 5,000 hours I have in Dota 2?
Don't even.
Like, do I?
All right, hold on now.
I'm not calling out my gamer.
But like, this is something that I had a conversation.
I look back on the thousands of hours that I poured into Overwatch, and I'm like, wow, I could have been really good at an instrument.
I could have written 5 books.
Yeah, I could have learned a really valuable skill, and in some ways, like, I will say that playing 2,000-3,000 hours of Overwatch highly increased my hand-eye coordination.
I was gonna say, something came out of it. You got better at Overwatch.
I got way better at grabbing things that were falling.
We're all gamers,
when,
right?
When
like
things
we're on Twitch.
When things would like accidentally fall off my desk, I snatch it right out of the air. I'm literally Emperor Cusco. Snatched you right out of the air. I do make movie references all the time. God, I'm so sorry.
Aware.
So like witchcraft, I guess for me, it like started making the world feel magical again. It's like reconnecting, and it gave me something that I was just really drawn to again. It gave me like, it just kind of took everything that I already cared about and gave it so much more meaning and purpose. Like caring about animals, plants, the earth. Like those are all things that are like very, very important to me. And knowing now that I can connect to it on a completely different level than I thought was possible before is a huge motivator for me.
Yeah, a new echelon of understanding.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So adding that magic and just making each day, and like I've already mentioned that like fantasy is like a huge motivator for me, right?
Yes.
Like I want my house to look like a hobbit hole from Lord of the Rings. I want my garden to look like a mystical fairy forest. And maybe part of this is kind of just like the aesthetic or the romanticism, but if it makes me happy, adding those bits of magic into my life. And then also I do notice the results, and I see the results too. So at the same time as just doing it for the enjoyment, it's also flexing that muscle and growing that muscle within myself, so that when I do, it's like practice for when I do need it. I'm very lucky to be in a situation where I don't need to do like a huge financial thing or a big protection thing, but the practice makes perfect for when those situations do hit you, right? So it's kind of like growing, and I also I love the challenge of seeing like my potential. Like I want to see what my potential is, and what can I do if I really put myself to this every day.
That's cool.
So, yeah,
that's a cool mindset too. I want to quickly jump on with the relating and connecting to like Lord of the Rings and other fantasy that may I like the word romanticize witchcraft or magic,
fantasy, magic.
It's important. I mean, my story goes that I felt very connected to Kiki's delivery service, which is a very mundane magic. You know, that's a very daily magic, I think, is a good representation of that. Yeah, there's broomsticks and flying on them and a talking cat, but there's also the magic of watching her sweep her floor, which, I mean, that's a very magical activity.
That's a real thing, yeah.
Yeah, that's like a real thing. And watching her go shopping for frying pans and seeing her mindfully flip them over, look at them. Her wishing for the shiny red shoes in the shop window, and spoilers, sorry, she ends up getting them at the end of the movie. You know, watching that manifestation at work. Like, I think that a lot of people can kind of turn their nose up to people who find magical inspiration in clearly fantastical spaces. But I think that's how a lot of people are ushered into witchcraft. I bet there's so many people here who discovered witchcraft through Harry Potter. You know what I mean? And stuff like that. And I think that they're good frames of reference and frames of mind to step into, because I believe in the fantastic and the reality kind of merging. Magical realism is such
exactly.
Because honestly,
I would love to have an episode about Harry Potter, because I'm thinking about Harry Potter and I'm like, I don't know that I really learned a lot about magic from Harry Potter.
Okay, that's interesting.
I'm thinking about an actual thing.
I'm thinking about the Dresden Files and how much about actual magical practice I learned from the Dresden Files, which is much more. I love that book series, but it's so misogynistic. It's painful.
It's a tough read, but they're good.
But it's like from Dresden Files, I remember reading how he wore a ring on one of his fingers specifically, and every time it brushed against his leg, he had put an intention into it that it was building up like a kinetic energy that was protection for him. And so he could only use it like in, you know, the extreme vampire demon king is coming after him or whatever the villain was in that book. And it did this huge blast to like protect. So every time it brushed against his, and it was through that book series that I learned more about what real witchcraft looked like than Harry Potter. Harry Potter felt a lot more like commercialized TV magic.
You swirl your wand around and sparks come out of the wand.
Exactly.
On the subject of books and like bringing it into our daily life fantasy books, my favorite author is Tamara Pierce. And she has two fantasy worlds that she writes in, but one of them is much more of kind of the mundane magic. Like one of the main characters works with plants and one is a stitch witch, which is what was like really influential to me because I do a lot of knitting. I do a lot of like crafting, which was like anything can be magic and you can bring that magic into your life in any way. And like having a character who like she weaves, like that is her magic. Like she weaves spells into her magic. She weaves protection into the clothes that she makes for her friends. That was like, I can bring magic into my everyday in any way that resonates with me, which was like really, really big revelation for me. And that's what I do. That's my daily, like, what am I doing? Like, I do a lot of crafts. Like, I made runes the other day. So I'm like I can put my magic into anything that I do. So
witchcraft works so well, like building in layers. Like, and once you start learning how to as soon as you learn to start like layering these things together, you'll have a whole practice like without even thinking about it really. Like when we'll just use the tea as an example or your morning beverage because I feel like that's something a lot of people can relate to, but choosing your coffee cup with intent, choosing your specific, either like your coffee, if you do multiple types of coffee, or your sweeteners, your milk options of choice, right? Like oat milk and cow milk are very, very different, right?
Yeah, and
you
have
can
different
learn those
properties, for sure.
properties and correspondences.
And make your tummy hurt different ways.
Tummy
exactly. With tea,
Tummy
choosing
hurty
a
spell.
specific type of
Tummy
tea.
hurty spell.
Activate.
Hey, you could take that pain and take it and
Alchemize it.
like as like inflicting it upon someone else.
Yeah.
I'm going to spitefully
Your
drink
milk
milk and
Yes.
deflect that energy at my enemy.
Every IBS flare-up is actually just a curse upon my enemies.
I just see Shady with like a poppet doll, like pouring cow's milk over it. May your lactose be intolerant.
About to start stocking some Ben and
Counterclockwise.
Jerry's just for this.
Definitely clockwise.
But yeah, like the teas that you choose, like what flavor of tea, what herbs are in it, like just choosing from your boxes of tea that are there, like which one with intent. That's a huge thing. And then of course, like we mentioned, stirring it with intention. Whenever I make myself tea or coffee, I make a second cup as an offering for my altar. And then I usually ask for something related to what I'm doing as well too. So when I do coffee, it's usually motivation and productivity is what I'm looking for. So that's what I'm stirring in.
Energy.
And that's what I'm asking for is like, help me to stay productive and motivated today. Like, please.
And awake, no nap time.
Yeah. Whereas like a tea day might just be like more chill, more relaxed, or lately I had COVID, so like asking for healing, right? And choosing like honey to soothe the throat, medicinally as well as like spiritually, right? Choosing green tea for the antioxidants and things like that, scientifically, but then also just the healing properties spiritually.
Rather than you just grabbing a tea, grabbing some honey and putting it together and slurping it down, you decided to take a deep breath and mindfully choose, because you may have 50 different teas in your tea drawer. And
That's all?
Look, I only have like 3. So I just, for the life of me, I just am not a big tea person. I don't know. I want to be.
You just haven't found your tea,
right?
No, but there's so many teas that I like. I know I could name 5 or 6 teas off the top of my head that I'm like, But I think the process of making tea is so tedious, pun intended, that I'm like, I mean, I guess maybe if I brewed a pitcher and I just had a pitcher sitting in the kitchen, the fridge, but that takes away the point of the daily brewing intention setting, la la la. So it's so much. Am I lazy? I don't think so.
Your waters, you can make your waters, your fruit infused waters with intent, just the same way as a tea.
Waters, I
That's a potion.
have been very intentive with
Those are very potions.
with crafting and
Like,
creating those. Those have been
For just using that as like an example.
Calling me lazy.
I like the concern too. Like, no, you're lazy.
So I'm like a big kitchen witch. I don't know. Do any of you guys also practice a lot of? Okay, so one of the first things.
I don't do anything in my kitchen. The most I do in my
first-
kitchen is make candles.
I would be, but and it's complicated because I live in my family's house, so it is not my kitchen, so I can't have it my
Gotcha.
way, and it complicates
that.
things.
Okay. So one of the first things I started doing with my witchcraft, and this I highly recommend to anybody because most of us cook, most of us eat food at least. We're making decisions
Speak
about
for
food
yourself.
daily. Well, even if you choose what plate you're putting your food on, that's a decision, right? That could be made intentional.
Not me having a story about this. I had this one plate in my kitchen that was orange. It was the color of Joey Wheeler's eyes from Yu-Gi-Oh! My household, he's my favorite character when I was in high school. He has golden amber eyes, actually like the Cullens from Twilight too, but golden amber eyes. And I loved Joey Wheeler. He's my favorite Yu-Gi-Oh character. And when I was a teenager, I was always like, I want the Joey plate. My family we still have that
Joey plate.
We still have that plate. My
awesome.
mom still calls that plate the Joey plate.
Add a tally to the pop culture references for Shady.
I'm so sorry. Oh my God, I'm obnoxious.
Joey's eyes from Yu-Gi-Oh to be brought up today, but
I'm so self-aware of how reference oriented I am right now.
yeah. So I think I was talking about kitchen witchery,
Okay.
right? I think that's where we were. So one of the first things that I definitely recommend if you're getting into witchcraft for the first time, or a very easy way to start infusing a little bit or a little more every day into your life, is kitchen witchcraft. And it can be done so easily at first by just whatever you're making for dinner that night, take a little bit of time and research the correspondences for those items, whether it is beef or rosemary, right? Like your spices and your herbs, even salt, right? And then try to find a similar theme between the ingredients that you're planning on using, right? Salt is protective, so is rosemary. So now you've got like a theme going on, right? And now when you're adding those to your dish, you can add those with that intent to just kind of like bring it into what you're cooking. So that's a very easy way that I've found, at least, where you don't need to go into this with like a whole witch recipe book, leather bound grimoire of like.
Although you can work your way up to that, and it's a lot like the bath example we had, where you can have your casual, mindful showers, and you have the bigger production, ritual, spiritual baths.
Yeah, like a stew, a big stew, where you're very mindful, like garlic for repellent,
and you're intentionally adding the ingredients at 4:44 p.m. and then at 5:55, and then
you stir clockwise, and
then at 6:66. Oh wait. I was going to say also, you mentioned glamour magic very briefly, and that is a big thing that like a lot of people do, and like there's this I feel like there's a misconception about glamour magic really only having like one purpose for like love and beauty or whatever, which is absolutely one thing that you can do with it. But there's like you can use makeup or jewelry or just the clothes you're wearing is all glamour magic. Like I want to look really confident today. I want to come across as confident, and you might wear like really bold colors, or like I want to make everyone like back the hell away from me. Keep my space.
Mohawk
and
engaged.
The other day, I was having a real crap day, and we had to go out, and I was like, I'm wearing all black. I'm in mourning today. I do not want to be here. So I'm going to wear all black to mourn my energy, grieve the fact that I have to leave the house, and also protect myself, sort of blend into the shadows, right? And once again, it was a mindful decision instead of me just being like, shirt, leggings, shoes, like it's, and I think that also with glamour magic, I use it a lot to, I mean, we can even argue that makeup in general, without the magical properties attached to it, a little bit of shape-shifting properties, a little bit of evolving yourself magically to fit into an image that you want to portray and an image that you want to embody.
Especially those people who are really crazy good at contouring. Like, how do you do that? Like, they can change their entire shape of their face.
Yeah, it's really impressive, and I think that infusing makeup with magic is pretty popular, and for good reason. It's I know for me, I use blush excessively. I love blush, and I have like a little stick blush, and sort of like how you use a sigil for your showering routine, Fuchsia, I do little symbols on my cheeks and rub it in.
Yeah. I was going to say some people do that with foundation also.
I do it with my concealer. I'll like draw symbols on depending on what I want, or even just like how I put my initial like foundation or concealer on my face is sometimes intentional as well too.
Very mindful.
I have a war paint or a camouflage, like depending on what I want.
Yes, protection, shielding. Don't look at me or look at me. You sometimes you want the attention on you for some reason. But I can't imagine why. No, just kidding. There's times and places.
Since we were just,
and one more extension of glamour for me is I have a very, very thorough face washing routine. I'm one of the skincare fellows out there in the world, and a big part of my skincare is oil cleansing. I just have like a big thing of oil, and you have to rub it in for at least 60 seconds, and I'm always very mindful to like rub it in like in a certain direction or another direction, if depending upon what I want. If I had a bad day, I want to flush out negative energy, or maybe I want good dreams, so I try to get up here and rub in a lot here. You know, it all adds up. And then I have like a rose mister, which is always nice, and that's a thing too. I mindfully chose rose as a part of my skincare routine. Mm-hmm. Not just because it's good for my face, that's nice too, but also because it's such a high vibrational flower. And I think that it's good to infuse that into the skin. It's to me, in my opinion, in my experience with flower magic, it's like the highest vibration of like love itself. So I do that, infuse that extra just pure love into my skin so that it goes cell-bound, you know, rather than just external. So it's fun. Oh yeah, I see
Rose
people
is
talk
so
about color
cool
magic.
too because
That's important
Rose is
too.
so flexible.
Sorry?
I said Rose is such just a cool thing to use, especially with like glamour magic in particular, because Rose can be applied in so many different ways, right? It's it can not only be used for like love as in self-love or romantic love or attraction, but also protection because of the thorns of the rose and things like that. It's a very versatile flower, and it's already so easy to find in body products, right? Whether it's a rose water toner, right? Or
exactly
the rose quartz face rollers now and things like that, right? Like there's so many ways to involve it. But one way that I love to, and I do this with almost everything, but specifically with makeup, take the time to go through once and make sigils for whatever you're wanting to do. So like you guys put the sigils on your face. I put it on the actual containers of my makeup.
Right,
so mine's like a one and done kind of a thing. On the bottom, on the back, somewhere inconspicuous. But I do this all the time with like all my different stuff. So concealer is usually protection for me, right? And same with like foundation. Like I want a nice like protective base, right? Yeah. And then like my lash glue, that's something that I'm probably putting on when I'm wanting attention, right? Where I'm wanting to attract, whether it's for the show, right? Because I wear them a lot for YouTube or for Twitch, or going out or something like that, right? So now I can be more specific with that intent. But you can make a one-time sigil and put it like on a cleansing sigil on all your cleaning products. And then now every time you clean with those normal cleaning products, you've infused a little extra magic into that.
And
I do that with my cleaning, but I don't clean that much.
The thing that's cool is a lot of this would camouflage into your daily practice. So if you were someone who was in a closeted witch, people aren't even going to notice or see these things. And if they do, you can easily just, write it off. Like, but then you're going to have that really perceptive person that's like, I see that symbol there, and I see it over there, and I see it over there.
But you can also just trace sigils like on a container. You don't actually have to write them. So that's also like a thing that you can do, especially if you have people in your life that would be really judgmental of you practicing witchcraft. So you can just trace. I have on my transit card, because I live in the city, I commute everywhere by train. On my transit card, I traced 2 sigils on it for protection and just general like safe travels, getting to where I want to go without being harassed by weird people on the train.
No, that's actually so great. That's such a great, especially so you're the only one here that lives in a city. So there's a lot of very specific city, which I think most of us are rural or rural adjacent. Like I'm in the 100-acre
I'm a country bumpkin
Ty's
witch.
on a mountain. Yeah. And Panther has a little house on next to a lake with a garden and stuff. But you're in the concrete jungles of Chicago, so you definitely.
So it's not even a small city; it's a city.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I bet that. There's probably insight for just like daily practices.
Yeah, I practice a lot of invisibility spells, just so like I'm not harassed on the street. I'm not like just bothered by like drunk people on the train, like just a lot of stuff like that. I sometimes they backfire, they work a little too well, and someone has almost sat on me on the train.
Oh my god.
But they're good for the other stuff. So
I've heard some bad stories about people using like shielding for not being seen and so on, and like hearing people like talk about them in front, because not even realizing that they're there, like talking to someone else about them, and then it's like, excuse me, like
I've done I tried to do like an invisibility spell once because I was just feeling really small and I didn't want to be noticed, but because of that I lost out on a really cool opportunity because they didn't even think of me. So it's sort of interesting, like the double-edged swords of magic. But I it's interesting, like I usually don't need spells like that because I see a total of 3 people a day, which is my family that I live with and my dog.
I see 3 people a day too, and 2 of them are dogs.
Yeah, and then there's like you can use sigils for so much, but one of the other things is you can like write sigils on a piece of paper and put them on your shoes, so that like
shoes are good.
Like you're walking on that intention to walk towards that intention.
And it gets activated every time it presses to the earth, surely.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. Yeah,
People
sigils,
use that
I think
a lot,
in general.
slightly like baneful working, depending on how you look at baneful too, but writing the name of someone and putting it on your sheet so that you're stepping on them.
Like if you want to like dominate them.
Yeah, or like you just want power over that person a little more. It's oftentimes a lot in like maybe you might do it on your boss's name when you're trying to get that promotion, right? To like, as like, I have the power here. Like, give me that job. kind of
Yeah, that's
thing.
cool.
But real quick, before we get away from sigils, we were just talking about like hidden witchcraft a little bit, right?
Yeah.
And sigils don't have to be a super magical looking, crazy looking runic thing either. Like, even if you're just trying to get more happiness in your day, doing a smiley face.
I was literally about to draw a smiley face.
Something to you, right?
I
Honestly,
do hearts and dollar signs.
I do hearts and spirals a lot.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so depending on what you're looking for, it doesn't necessarily have to, things that could be like a just standard doodle kind of could be witchcraft, right? I used to draw like eyes all the time on my, because I like really liked animals and stuff, so I draw like animal eyes on my papers. But like looking back on that could be great for an insight sigil or seeing the truth in something, right? Like, so it's all about the intent that you're doing as you're drawing it. So it doesn't have to be just a smiley face if you're looking for a way to get away with having your desk covered in sigils at home, right? Or something like that. Like,
and not to mention, the best way sigils work is that you create them and you forget them.
Yes.
They're very subtle.
See,
constant
I don't know if I agree
well,
with that
I think
either.
that Vamptall Bites, you just full of wonderful nuggets today. Draw it on the mirror in Steam. So then it would fade
that's a
away.
good one.
You know it's there. And this is, we've talked about this before. I don't know if it was in a podcast or not, but of infusing a sigil as an invisible source on your OBS for content creators, for streamers.
Yes. I do them on my social media posts. I have 2 different sigils for 2 different things, and I use Canva for a lot of my things, but I have them uploaded there. So I just put up my picture, I put the sigil on top of it, and then I turn the opacity down to 0.
Yep.
So
I have something similar on my OBS scenes. And another way that I use sigils is emojis. I do emoji magic excessively because I think that those little bite-sized, colorful, expressive, communicational language is so unique and so untouched. And I think that that's a really easy way. Like, I'm very mindful about the emojis I use when I talk about myself, when I talk to others. And I think that that's a very casual way to just like inject a little bit of, and that's like a little bit of tech magic, right? To, I don't know, usually it's just for, it doubles as aesthetic. But it's also just, you know, I chose the bunny to help repel anxious energy, because bunnies are very, they run away really fast and they get nervous. So I use the bunny for that, or for moon magic. I think about the bunny on the moon and stuff like that. Like, there's so many little ways to use sigils and find sigils and everything.
So
that actually reminded me, just a quick example of the kind of like the mirror thing. One of the first spells that I ever did was a protection working for the apartment that I was in. And I wasn't exactly at the point where I was sharing my practice with everyone living in that domain either. But I essentially made like a salt water blend of like protective herbs, salt, and water. And then I drew a sigil on my windows and doors with that water. So it was
awesome.
Invisible unless you were like looking really closely. But
when the sun just hits it right.
Yeah, right. But you could even do it if you were being more careful than me, like down in the bottom corner. You could do it on the exterior instead of the interior, and things like that. So, but yeah, that just reminded me. I was like, oh, I forgot I did that.
So I think in this line of thinking, Pisces Pixie has a question in chat that says, do you think there's a bad side effect of practicing that kind of stuff? Like, be careful what you wish for kind of thing. So maybe like an over manifestation
of like protection in particular, or
I think just in general. This was a couple minutes ago, but I think this
was when we were talking about like the stepping on someone's name.
Yeah, but I think that applying this in general to rune magic or manifestation like this, like, is it, like
specificity matters. I think being as specific as possible. It's the same thing as like positive affirmations too. I like to get real specific about stuff like that, and I think that it just helps center my magic a little better, because I'm always very aware of stray magic flying out and having sort of what's the term, like just like an open wound of something that can kind of fly out and do something irrelevant elsewhere that can create a butterfly effect. So I try to be as specific with my intentions as possible. And sometimes...
I think being specific is very, very important. Like, the only times I've had a spell, like, quote unquote, backfire on me is like when I'm like, I want, like, say, like, I want this person to express their feelings. But then they actually have, like, some negative...
I was going to say negative feelings.
Not the feelings that you wanted,
And that you might be unaware of, and then just like, oh yeah, they express their feelings.
It makes me think of like Monkey's Paw, where it's like, I want $1 million, and then your family member dies and their will leaves you $1 million or something. Yeah. I think that there's that's just witchcraft or not. I think that's like a, be careful what you wish for. And
definitely. I think that's this is also specifically working with like manifestation magic now, which people would argue most magic is based in
a type of manifestation.
A manifestation. They want
what
something
you're trying to manifest. Yeah.
Right. There's something that they desire that comes out of this. But I also like what Violet Hummingbird said, like having the intention of being within the highest good. What I do a lot in my magic is I base a lot of my magic in the concept of universal love. And which to me is the highest vibrational connection that you can possibly make with the universe. And unconditional, unapologetic, and just pure love. And the opposite of love is fear. So there's nothing fear-based that's happening in this creation, in this dance. And I think that helps sort of solidify the boundary a little bit. Because sometimes the highest good and the highest love for yourself could mean having a tower moment. It's inevitable. It helps grow the heart. It helps make it grow stronger as well. So it doesn't necessarily protect you from all bad, but at the very least, I can guarantee that what I'm working with is for my highest good and for the love of myself and everyone around me. Even if it requires a little bit of, like, stop it. A little, if I get a little backhanded by the universe for a second.
Tough love is still part of universal love.
Definitely. But it brings me comfort as the magical practitioner, knowing that, okay, this outcome wasn't really what I wanted, but I can at least trust the fact that it needed to happen this way.
That's also, like, that's the other part of, like, when I've had a spell, like, quote unquote backfire, it's always been like ultimately for the best, but not in the way I wanted it, like not in an easy way, not in a fun way.
And that happens too sometimes.
Yeah, but that's I don't think like spells really backfire. Just the universe works in ways that we do not expect a lot of the time. So
we just have to survive accordingly. Being a human is complicated and chaos. So we just have to take our lumps, our universal lumps as we get them, and just that's a part of the magic too for me, is just like softening the blows, making them palatable, making them like I'm a low spoon lady, like, you know, having them hit at the right time on the day I have good spoons, so that I'm not totally bowled over by like nonsense. You know what I mean? So that's helpful for me too, like with that intention in mind.
I think because I think I operate a little differently than you guys. Because I don't know, I feel like I exist, or I operate in a very gray area with witchcraft. I don't necessarily think that there is like good or bad magic. I think it's just magic, and it's a tool, and it depends on how you use it. This blessing and bane grow on the same stalk is like an expression that I really enjoy, right? Like we mentioned the rose. Rose can be give to a lover, or it can like draw blood if you touch it wrong, right? So it kind of depends on your intention. But when I do my workings, I'm always very specific with what I'm asking for and how I want it delivered to me. And this is where tools like petitions or sigils, specifically, because you can put a pretty long sentence into a good sigil. You can work in very specific intent into those things, into a very small space, and be able to use it over and over again. But kind of, I trust that the layers, like we mentioned earlier about how witchcraft is like such layers. I trust that the layers I've already built up will protect me from any negatives, or like I have already built the foundation to be able to, I have put in so much work and intent in what I am asking for that by now my intention is clear when I do a new spell or something else. Like, so I don't have to be as specific now as I used to when I first started, is how I kind of feel, because now I've put in layers of protection on myself, my family, my space. Yeah. The chances of something going wrong are greatly diminished. I have my spirit allies now, right, who are going to inherently look out for me, and so on. So it kind of depends on like what you're doing and so on. But I think that in general, just like there's no such thing as like too much protection, in my opinion. That's such a good thing to practice too when you're first getting started, is just like protection for myself individually, right? Protection for my home, protection for my vehicle. Like those are 3 spells that you can now practice and try. And it doesn't have to be something difficult either, right? It could just be, you know, touching your, I kind of have a kind of animist way of thinking too, I guess, but like touching your car before you get in it and thanking it for protecting you so far and asking it to protect you.
Oh my God. I do that all the time. I don't even think about it. I like tap the top of my like little dashboard.
That's a very like animist,
and I'm like, oh my God, thank you so much for. I'm weirdly so kind to my car. And I'm never like, oh, you stupid car. Why aren't you? I'm always like, oh my gosh, thank you so much for like getting me here. Like I'm very kind to my car.
Cars are scary, so
it's weird. I'm a lot nicer to my car than I am to my own body.
I was gonna say
it's a lot to think about.
Travel is frightening.
Travel is scary, right? Driving is scary, so taking the time and being safe, right? And that's making sure you're in the right headspace too before you drive. Like that could be another mindful, protective thing.
I love driving, so I'm very like meditative and dissociated a lot of the times, but I'm a very like safe and conscious driver. So
I worry about my friends, especially like my best friend just visited last weekend, and like 5-hour drive, and he had to make a 5-hour drive like at the like Sunday night when we were tired from a whole weekend, and so I was like, here's some tiger's eye, take it. Like,
oh my God, yeah.
Like, so I do that a lot for my friends. I'm just like, here's a crystal.
Something I don't think that we've touched on a lot is dreamwork and sleeping and that type of thing.
My sleep hygiene,
I know that something that I've read a lot with tarot specifically is to, like, when you're learning tarot, to draw one card a day and journal about it and meditate on it on the whole day. But another thing I've heard is to put the card underneath your pillow and intentionally, you know, invite it into your dreams that night, right? Like, good luck with the 10 of swords. But
I was gonna say, that's a strong.
well, it's
That's a strong
definitely
magic.
it's definitely anything that you could use tarot, or you could use anything for this. Anytime you're inviting something into your dream world, or you're wanting to experience something in the dream world, lucid dreams, all of it starts to get I love and fear at the same time lucid dreaming, astral projection, all of that kind of stuff. And I've had so many different experiences. I'm a very unconscious dreamer right now, and I think that this we should have a whole episode on dream work. I won't go off on that tangent.
I think we have it on our list.
So but as far as daily practice with it goes, I think that what I would like to talk about, like maybe to wrap this episode up, is what it actually looks like for you on a day-to-day basis. We've talked about a lot of ways that you can incorporate it. So personally, what does it look like for you on a day-to-day basis? And we'll say an ideal day where you accomplish what you want to accomplish, not your, well, I hardly ever do anything because I can't do my to-do list, but like on an ideal day for you, what would be on your agenda, what it would look like if you were doing a day in the life of, how would you film that, right? Like, what would you show as the day in the life of, as far as your actual practice goes and what that looks like. And this is where I think the demystification comes in. So does anybody want to take the lead on this?
Oh, it's tough.
Okay, I can.
I can.
Okay,
I
you go
can.
for it, Fuchsia.
Okay, so
I don't know what my ideal day is.
Well, I mentioned like I always do sigils in body wash in the shower. But like beyond that, like, so I have my altar right behind me, so I'm doing a lot of work on my computer often. So I hate that I have to, like, when I'm doing a candle spell, I have to like be in the room when the candle's burning. So I always leave those for when I'm doing stuff on my computer, like when I'm editing a video. Like I'll do the spell and like meditate on it for like 5 minutes and just let the candle burn down while I'm doing stuff. Otherwise, if I don't feel like sitting at my computer, if I have nothing to do, I have tea lights that I burn out in the living room, and I have little mini altars. They just look like decorations to people who don't know, but like, I actually I went to the thrift store and bought butter trays, and I have little altars.
Cute.
With like,
that's clever.
Like I have like a water altar and like a earth altar that's like, one's like, the earth one looks like a little forest scene and the water one looks like little ocean, and I've got like crystals in there that are like blue and green and stuff. And so I light tea lights like when I'm watching TV. I always do the spell without, TV on or anything, but then I just let it burn while I'm, having my me time. Other than that, like I always try to do this every day is I put out offerings on my ancestor altar and my Aphrodite altar. Of like on the weekends they get wine, during the week they get water, and then like the big like Samhain and stuff they get a whole meal. But I don't do a whole meal every day. So I try to keep up with the fresh water. Aphrodite gets fresh roses on Fridays, or whenever the store actually has the roses in stock.
And Friday is Venus's day.
Yeah. So a lot of it is like, a lot of the stuff I do is based on like the day of the week or the phase of the moon. So a lot of the stuff is tied to that kind of stuff. Sometimes I do planetary hours, but mostly like if I can, I wait for like the like good timing, but sometimes you need to do something right then. Yeah. But mostly a lot of the stuff I do is just, it's low key, just putting out water, putting out offerings, lighting a candle while I'm doing other stuff, and just like choosing my tea that I'm going to drink is definitely like, I have a positive energy tea, my positivity that's like is my go-to if I'm feeling down. I have like one that is like specifically if I need energy. One is like if I feel like I haven't been super like healthy lately. I have one specifically for that. And so and glamour magic is a big part of like my makeup is a big part of my daily practice. And then my other stuff is just like I go to workshops all the time. I am fortunate that I live in a city with a lot of witchcraft shops, and one of them has workshops all the time. So I go to workshops multiple times a week, and I have a big like good community through that. So we do spells through that. Those are like the more like ritual ones, though. I don't really do like any rituals on my own. It's more the light a candle, say an intention, draw a sigil kind of thing. Those are my more daily things. And then like my other, when I'm winding down for the day, one of the things is I read. I have a lot of witchcraft books, so I'm usually like I'll read when I get into bed, but I also journal. I do my tarot journaling. I used to do like a daily tarot pull. I fell out of the habit. I want to get back to that. But I do like my tarot journaling. I do my shadow work journaling. I do just journaling in general, which even if I'm not specifically working on shadow work, journaling for me is part of my practice. Just like the spiritual side of
journaling,
like
for sure.
Like getting in tune with me, getting in tune with my spirit. And then I go to bed and I read for about 20 minutes in bed, and then I sleep.
Night night, Fuchsia.
And sometimes my spirit guides visit me in my sleep, and so I guess that's technically the end of my day. But it's like, and it sounds like I'm doing a lot. Like I just rambled for a few minutes. It sounds like I'm doing a lot every day, but it's become just
a flow.
It's so incorporated,
And some of it, like, it's just like I'm doing it while I'm doing other things, and it's just incorporated. I think about it, but I don't think about making the time for it, because at this point, like they're really quick things, and I have been doing them for so long. So
yeah, and I feel like I can relate to that. My life is very deeply infused with magic. It feels like everything I do is an extension of this magical mindset that I create for myself, which is why I didn't jump in and be like, I'll talk about mine, because it's hard to pick and choose exactly how
to explain and what to focus.
It's everything I do is done with intention, except for when it's not, which also happens. Sometimes I'm just making food. Sometimes I'm just drinking tea. Sometimes I'm just playing video games.
Yeah, sometimes I'm just playing Minecraft for 3 hours. Oops.
There's times when it is and when it isn't. I guess the big parts of my daily magical process, practice, is I love to bookend things. I love to have a strong beginning and a strong end. So in my case, I like to have a strong morning routine, and I like to have a strong night routine, one that I can always rely on, one that I can always lean into. So whatever happens in the middle of the day is free reign. And but usually the morning routine sets me up for success, and then the night routine sets me up for rest. And for my morning routine, hygiene is such an important part of my magical process. Like I said, that's when I do my face cleanse, my oil cleansing. That's when I do brushing teeth is also really important for me, like mindfully doing it, because like this is a part of my communication. This is a part of my health. This is a part of my beauty routine as well. I like to do, a big part of my daily practice, and this will also go in with crystals. I have stretched ears. I mindfully choose my crystal plugs every day, making sure that today's an amethyst day, trying to get into the celestial mindset for Celestial Café. Amethyst is magically guided. And I think that, what else do I do? Breakfast, so cooking, right? I'm always very mindful when I eat my food, thanking the people who helped gather the food, thanking myself for creating it. I take daily walks outside. That's a part of my routine, usually with my dog. So there's a lot of great, and I don't think we mentioned this, but another part of my witchcraft routine is gratefulness and thankfulness and thanking things. Thank you for existing. Thank you, random people who harvested this tea plant. Thank you, house, for giving me a roof over my head. I think that's like a very important part of my practice. And then some middle of the day stuff. I like to do candles at night, incense in the day. I feel like that matches energetically. I lit an incense just now because I was inspired. I'm very mindful about which ones I choose. That right now I have green tea because I want some energy. I want some good vibes. Or I could have grabbed my baking brownies for comfort and so stuff like that. I do water and tea and coffee magic constantly. It is so important that I'm infusing my liquids with high vibrational love. We can even look back at that very famous study of the guy who screamed at water and then the water was mad. But then he sent a lot of love to the water and then the water was like, yoo-hoo, you rock, thanks for that. And then you are filling yourself cellularly down to the DNA with this good energy. And we talked already about mindfully choosing tea, mindfully choosing coffee, choosing
really quick,
the liquid.
I have a small segue about the yelling at water. So there was an actual scientific study done on plants where they did everything the same. And on one group of controls, they had people speak nicely to the plants every single day. And then the other one, they screamed at them. And the ones that they screamed at all died. And then the ones that they talked to nicely all grew amazingly.
I've seen studies like that done with a cup of rice, a cup of cooked rice.
They've done studies like that with water,
Frozen
where
water.
they make different crystals depending on the tone of voice and what you're saying to them.
The intention behind the words you're using.
Yeah.
Another part of my daily magic too is music. I'm very I'm very musically minded. I listen to music every day, and I will choose my playlist depending upon how if anyone does anyone here like music? Can you believe it?
Yeah, right. That sounds like loser talk.
Yeah, what? Who likes music these days?
Yes, but my music taste has not evolved since the emo days of 2007.
Oh my gosh.
We
need an emo.
2007 is the cutoff.
I think we're on the verge of the emo revival, though. So
we are. I've been talking about that so much.
Yeah.
I think emo's never left, but it is.
I think it's about to get loud again.
Than ever.
Yeah, I'm never growing out of my emo phase.
and for me, I'm also in this space. Some days I don't want lyrics because I'm a very heady person.
I need my mind to be able to think what it needs to think without being programmed by your musical this musician's thoughts.
Yes.
And sometimes I want to feel other people's feelings and their thoughts. So
it's very mindful the way I choose my music for the day, and I'll jump around, and it's very important to me that I can choose. Because I have speakers, it surrounds the room, it vibrates off the walls. I have to make sure that it's safe. But then, my night routine also, because I'm a nightly lucid dreamer. I have been my whole life. So there's nothing I really have to do to prepare for that. It's gonna be there whether I like it or not. To the point sometimes where I do reality checks in real life. I'm like, is this real? Where am I?
That's why you probably lucid dream all the time, because you are conscious about it all the time.
Yeah, it happened since I was 4 or 5.
We gotta watch that Netflix show about lucid dreaming. I gotta have you watch that. Sorry.
But yeah, and I don't know,
Celestial Café movie night.
We could do a Celestial Café movie night. It's just it's a bit of a horror and it's got some sex and stuff in it, so it's a little more adult, but I'd be down. It's 7 episodes. We could probably watch it over the span of a week together.
We're all adults here, right?
Right? Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
Right? But yeah, it's really hard to narrow down what exactly a witchy daily routine is for me, because there's 50,000 other things I didn't mention that is just deeply infused with my magical realism mindset, my mundane magic, which is so important to me. And of course, every now and again, catch me doing a 2-hour in-depth bath spell, you know, like I'm just as, and also moon phases, so important to me. Moon's in Cancer right now. That's probably why I'm in my feelings. And planetary hours, I swear by. I really feel like I can better channel energy with the planetary hours, which is a whole other discussion. And also days of the week. I make sure that my week starts on Wednesday because it's Mercury. I feel like Mercury is such a good start to your week, better than a moon day. Moon day, I want to hold myself and just
it's
be
funny.
cozy.
I'm naturally falling into that routine. I was just thinking that to myself today. I was like, Wednesdays should probably be the first day that I stream each week, and the rest of, you know, through Sunday, Monday is editing the videos because it's more introverted. I don't have to worry about makeup and an expression of myself, and it's more just introversion, and then promoting and publishing, and like I'm constantly trying to find the best way to work a routine around productivity as well, while still like honoring like my introverted side, my introverted needs.
Yeah. I was thinking when I thought of one other really important part of my daily routine, just Dukes like flew past this, mentioned it, flew past it like as part of your like during the day thing. Yeah. But at night, one of the things that's really important to me for winding down is just sitting with my cats. I know, like, it's just like
my animals.
Like, I got to a point where like I started not like kind of taking my cat's presence for granted. Not really, but like not spending time with them. And when I started to feel like disconnected from like everything, feeling disconnected from my magic, like while I was just like focused on the mundane world, like the thing that like surprisingly just like brought me back was one day I just sat down with one of my cats in my lap and just sat there and pet her.
I'm gonna do
for
it
like a solid hour.
I'm gonna do it
and let her fall asleep, and like that to me is just so magical.
I'm thinking of Constantine.
Like
Keanu Reeves is holding the cat and staring in the cat's eyes so that he can travel between dimensions. I'm gonna make my movie reference.
She said it.
And it's just
that's
like,
always been a thing back since ancient times.
Yeah, and it's just like that's one of the very important things to my daily practice is just like spending time with my cats. I mean, they don't care. They're sleeping. Like I wake them up to spend time with me and they're like, I just want to keep sleeping. But like that's like really important just to bring me back to center and bring me back in touch.
I would love to do an episode on pets and animals.
Yeah.
Please.
That would be cool.
One of my first specialties that I started focusing on was doing spells like for my animals. Which I feel like I see a lot of incorporating animals in your own magics or like embodying archetypes of animals or animal messengers, but I very rarely see like my dog has bad hips. Right. Like, so I'm going to do like a daily spell when I give them their food to help heal their hips.
Right.
And things like that. So that's what I love to do is like coming up with stuff for the animals. But that would be so fun.
Panther, do you want to talk about your daily expressions?
I guess. Okay. I gotta make sure I don't forget anything because I feel like it's kind of like what Duke.
I honestly think we could have this same conversation tomorrow, and everyone would give different answers.
Oh yeah,
so
100%. So I guess my morning starts with waking up, and
the best part of waking up is going back to sleep.
That's me. Oh my god, the dream's not over.
When I wake up and then like have to go back to bed an hour later because nope, still tired.
No. So I'm trying really hard to do dream work and to get into a cycle of lucid dreaming. We talked about this and kind of like our how we discovered spirituality, I think, but I trained myself to not dream because of recurring nightmares essentially when I was in high school, or at least to not remember them. And I'm trying really hard to undo that. So the first thing I do when I wake up is I write down my... Sorry, now I'm System of a Down stuck in my head. Thank you, Shadow of the Flames. Completely completely derailed. I have a dream journal. So writing down your dreams to help remember them is one of the things that you're supposed to do to help train yourself to start remembering dreams now. And so now I have dreams pretty consistently. So that has helped a lot for me, at least. So if you have a hard time remembering your dreams, definitely recommend
journal
that.
in the morning.
So,
I
Absolutely.
actually need to get back to that because I also I trained myself to stop dreaming because of chronic nightmares.
Yeah.
And for the most part, like now when I do dream, it's usually like my spirit guides like coming with messages. But like there are some that are much more like cryptic that I have to sit down and like think about. And I started journaling. And I don't remember the last time I did it, but it really helped when I did.
I've been
So-
bad lately.
Yeah.
And I did my other one
I'm
like
like-
yesterday. I
I'm
didn't
like-
dream last night that I recall.
I'm
but-
sitting here like, when was the
I
last
hadn't done
one?
it in like 2 months. I was like, oh,
Let's
okay.
see.
So, time to start again.
Yeah.
The bad thing is I've had this journal for like 3 years now, and I've only got like the first 20 pages filled out.
Yeah.
But I'm
Okay,
getting
me
there,
and you, we
know?
gotta get
Any
back to
progress
it.
is
Let's go.
progress, right? So we're talking ideal morning routine, right?
Yeah.
So remembering to do that. And then I usually get up and take care of my animals, which, as I just said, depending on what their needs are, sometimes that is magic as well, or just, thanking them. And I do think that living creatures, this is once again like animist kind of way of thinking, but living animals are spirits as well, too, just like I am a spirit and you guys here are spirits and so on. So I think that there is
Resisting the urge to sing Pocahontas. Continue.
there is a power in kind of like connecting not only to my individual dog, right, but the dog, the archetype of the dog, right, and appreciating that in them. And
Loyalty.
I am very much exactly. And I'm also a big believer in, I mean, if you guys know my channel, it's all about like reconnecting to your inner wilds, right? Like reconnecting to that feral part inside of ourselves, that wild magic. And I do that for my animals too, right? So the food that I choose for them, I'm a big dog food and pet food nerd in general, but we do a lot of raw feeding. We do a lot of marrow bones. Even my cat, she had sardines last night, like, so whole fishes, very trying to mimic and bring back to the wilds and reconnecting to that part of ourselves. So that is kind of like something that is an intentional decision that has now bled into the everyday, right? So, and that takes time, of course, right? Doing that research and deciding those things for yourself. But absolutely love it. Animals are in great health. It's been awesome. So then I guess I do my morning routine, which for me is making my coffee or my tea for the morning. And I kind of already mentioned what I do there. I do have a video on my YouTube as well too. It's just a little short kind of talking about how I do magical coffee. And it just kind of, choosing it with intention. Most of my coffee in particular is motivation or productivity, stirring that intention in. Milk for me is very healing, nurturing, protective. So when I add the milk to my coffee, that is what there, and sugar is always attracting. So what am I trying to bring in today? Usually it's prosperity because I'm about to get working for the day. Usually I have coffee in the mornings when I work. So that is all intentional. I do a drip or pour over coffee. So I use filtered water specifically. And it's an intentional process. So I actually have to sit there, pay attention and pour the coffee over and watch the thing fill up. I love the aesthetic of it too. So I'm just like, I love the romanticizing of daily life. So the intentionality and the mindfulness behind it. I do pick my coffee cup with some intention depending on what I'm feeling that day, right? Like Deadpool mug is for like Saturdays and fun days, and my little like bee mug is for hardworking like bumblebee energy, right? So when I'm trying to focus and things like that. And then I always make a little bit of extra coffee, and I have a copper mug that I use for, it gets really hot really quick. I wouldn't recommend it for normal use, but it looks pretty on my altar, and that is what I value. So I do that as well, depending. Sometimes I'll get drawn to put sugar in that coffee. Most of the time I don't. It kind of depends on when I have the spoon over there, if it says yes or no to sugar that day. So, and then that coffee will go over to my altar. apparently my grandfather really liked sugar in his coffee. So that was like an interesting thing that started happening after he passed away, which is interesting to me. So that was a weird coincidence. But so I bring that mug over to my altar and set it there. And then I'm in the process of trying to bring more spirit work into my practice. So connecting with ancestors, deity spirits, etc. And this is something that I'm kind of working through and struggling with a little bit, but I'm doing my best. I'm a very skeptical person. I'm very science-based, if you guys know me. I went to school for biology, animal sciences, and everything. But for me, that's one thing I love about witchcraft is like being able to prove it to yourself, right? Or being able to try and see what happens. And I will say, like, some of the results have been definitely noticeable and interesting. So that has been my own journey there, and definitely recommend it if you're skeptical too. Try it out. But when I give my coffee offering, trying to take the time to also, I try to do light and incense at the same time too. So light is usually in the form of a candle, and then incense or fumigation, a scent of some kind. So theoretically speaking, different spirits like different things, right? So you have like the physical, the liquid, and then the light and the smell, depending on what I'm trying to attract in that time. So that is usually pretty intentional and just a little, hey, this is here for anyone who wishes to help me today in what I am doing today. That is greatly appreciated. Please partake in what I have here for you, kind of a thing. I might get more specific depending on what I'm doing, but I try to do that. When I'm not, maybe like lately I've been so lazy and I haven't been doing any coffee, so it's been water, trying to put like a fresh glass of water on my altar. I was just like, hey, I know you guys are still here. I'm sorry. Here's some water. And then that water will go to my plants too afterwards.
Nice.
So
That's what
I like to do.
what
It
I
helps
do
me
with
remember to water my plants. But I'm like, oh, here's some fresh water. But yeah, so that's like the big part of my practice, I would say, is like it all happens in the morning. I also feed the birds every day, or I try to when I can. I have bird feeders in the front and back of my home. And I look at that as offerings to local nature spirits, right? Spirits of the air, or however you want to see it. Or just kind of like befriending the bird, right? Like the archetype of the bird, the songbird, the cardinal, the woodpecker, whatever it might be, right? Creating those animal allies for you to be able to notice. And I think too, like animal messengers mean so much more once you start noticing patterns, right? So when I know that every day a bluebird comes and visits about this time, but then later on that day I see them in a specific spot in the yard, right? Like it makes things more noticeable. It allows you to start, when you can recognize what birds are there or start recognizing their calls, you're more able to realize what messages might be coming to you and so on, right? Like that, right? So I love bird watching and things like that. So there's my animal nerd portion, but that is definitely a big part as well. And then I guess if I'm doing like a standard work day, like let's say I'm gonna film a video and maybe stream later, I'll do like a cleansing shower, so refreshing, getting everything off of me from the day before, and then doing kind of like glamour magic as I get ready. Usually I want to draw people in, right? Because I am a content creator on the internet. I would like people to notice my thumbnail and want to click. I want to be able to keep people kind of enthralled and entertained in my chat. I want them to be able to listen to what I hear and resonate with what I say. And also help myself speak clearly as I like mess up. So also strengthening myself in those aspects too. So I'm very intentional with how I put on my makeup, what I wear in those ways. And then as I get ready for either video editing, recording, or streaming, I actually have like a little money altar over here on my actual desk. So I do tend to this whenever I am working. So I have different money candles. So like this is a road opener candle. I light this whenever I am working, and then I just snuff it out when I'm done. So that is always lit whenever I'm doing something. My money bowl is here. I have different spell oils. This is the one that I made myself. I know you guys all have your prosperity oils as well too, but I love oils. I will anoint myself just on my wrists or sometimes on my throat too, because I speak a lot as I'm creating.
I do so much throat magic, I swear.
To bring in, yeah.
Just, so I'm not word vomiting all day.
Did you hear
Did
that,
it before
fellas?
this stream? Like, put it on my
I'm going to put that in my dating profile.
wrists.
I'm so sorry.
Listen.
But yeah,
They're not complaining.
usually I'll just anoint myself, but sometimes if I might anoint what I'm working on too, depending on what that is. So putting the oil physically, like maybe on I have like a little keyboard bar. I might like draw a little quick sigil here, depending on what I need extra that day, or whatever. And I've actually had very good results about asking for specific intent from my money altar on my desk before I go live and things like that. Like specific numbers of new followers, specific numbers of donations or subs and things like that. If you guys are streamers and also into witchcraft and stuff, I highly recommend just like experimenting and trying it out and so on. Because that has been extremely fascinating to me as a very skeptical, analytical person. So that's been fun. And I think that's pretty much my standard, like, working day, what I do.
So for me, I'm going to talk about ideal. So certainly not what I achieve every day. But I think that I would like to start my days by the dream reflection. I think that the first thing I would want to do is be in that, because you can receive so many spiritual messages in your dreams. Yeah. They can be deep, soul shattering. And I mean, they could even be like relevant, like go do this in the world. This is your world. They could be these huge messages, and they could be as simple as like reflecting, like analyzing that dream symbol and learning that you actually hate your job, or even something more simple like, I stubbed my toe on the stereo of my room last night in the dream. So I need to move this today in real life because in my dream, this is creating frictions. It could be mundane. It could be all the way up. I think the first part of my day, I would love to be fully focused in dream journaling, reviewing previous dreams, and not always, maybe like the deep analysis could come at another time, but making sure that I'm set up to be able to review and recognize patterns in my dream world and things like that. Yeah. And having a journaling moment, I would love to incorporate that into like a start of the day divination moment, which would for me involve tarot. So pulling a card, seeing how that relates to the dreams that I may or may not have had and things like that. And a meditation moment and a yoga movement immediately. I want to work the energy out of my body that's been stagnant while I've been resting. So I would love to wake up, stay in bed for a bit with a journal and be cozy in I love cuddling, nuzzling like that. I don't like to get out of bed immediately, right? I'm not a morning person. Right. But if I could turn on a soft light, have a journal, write about the dream I just had and still kind of be drifting in and out of that, like that fantasy dream space. Fantasy is a weird word to use for that, but the dream space of it. And then maybe have a separate journal, but still in a journaling moment, an introspective, reflective moment, pull a tarot card, journal about that, have that intention set for the day coming from the tarot card. This is something, and I would intentionally pull the card. What do I need to focus on today? Or what energy do I need to prioritize today? Like however you want, some kind of day, like intention for the day coming from that tarot card. Journal a bit about the card, journal a bit about like maybe what I want to manifest for the day. So this is like setting the intention, setting the goal, visualizing how I want the day to go. And that for my productivity planner babes would also be where I would be doing planner work as well, and not quite to the tedious to-do list tasks yet, but just the what is today all about? What do I need to accomplish today, and how am I going to go about accomplishing that? And then I would get out of bed, do the human things of the bathroom visits, which would be where you would, of course, like the brushing of your teeth, the brushing of your hair. There'd be some mindful intention setting with those as well. It'd be a trip to the kitchen for me next to get some kind of beverage. Maybe I have a water bottle back here, but there would be some kind of drink necessity at the very start of the day for me too. So there could be some intention setting and spell work done with that as well. And then I would probably come back to my room or wherever the yoga mat is, do a very short 5-10 minute flow to just, sun salutations, work out the kinks, get the body moving. That to me is like a nice little start in the bedroom. The next thing I want to do though is get out of my house for a second and touch the grass. I want to put my bare feet on the ground and I want the sun to touch my skin. Even if that's, like I was talking earlier at the stream, walking down to my mailbox. And this won't work if I ever switch myself to being a morning person because there won't be any mail at the start of the day. But normally I wake up in the afternoon and the mail's already run. But then I would like to have a movement. Like I think movement at the start of the day and earth, like touching the earth and moving around and getting out of my normal space and away from screens is and being present too. A lot of like, I think for exercise, I can be listening to podcasts and stuff, but this first walk around in the morning, I don't want to be, I still want to be with myself and I want to receive whatever I need to receive from the earth and the sun. Like so that to me sounds like the morning routine, right? And then I would come in and enter the mundane area of my day, which is meal prep. What am I eating today? How am I going to achieve the food processes? And then during like the other hosts have already touched a lot on like cooking and how you can incorporate intention and magic into cooking. Same thing, like for me, I think another thing that I want to mention is protecting myself when I interact online. This is something that I'm moving more and more into. I'm such an internet person. This is the majority of my life is spent on the internet. And this is something I'm trying to become more and more and more mindful of because the internet sucks a lot out of me. I thought
you were just going to say the internet sucks a lot.
It does. It's a very difficult space to exist in constantly. And it can warp your image of the world. It can warp your understanding of the world. So
I agree.
I think having a lot of protection going into interacting online and things like that are something that I want to be more focused on because I let the internet ruin me in a lot of ways. And it's not just the internet at large. It could just be Twitter's general opinion. It could be one random individual from a Twitch stream or in a Discord server or something. Like I, in general, want to be less bothered by those things. So that's where the sigils and the protection and the intention and stuff would come in handy for me. I talked a lot about the start of my daily practice. I want to focus on very introspective and symbol interpretation, dream interpretation, and focusing on where what's coming in. I think a lot of my intuitive channeling or whatever comes from those spaces. I love this meme that's like, what's your source? The cryptic messages in my dreams, bro. I'm very, that's where I feel like that and psychedelics, but that's a whole other conversation, is where a lot of, I think that my witchiness comes from. It's not in my mundane practice. So I'm not the type of person that does spell work often. I don't do rituals very often. And when I do, I feel very unsure of what I'm doing and the imposter syndrome comes in. I'm very skeptical, and this often causes them to backfire and create fear in my life. So I'm hesitant around those areas for me personally because of those things. But I would love to, I'm really looking forward to doing more episodes with y'all because I'd love to talk about spell work and things like that and rituals and how they look. Because, I mean, even Fuchsia was mentioning leaving offerings for ancestors. I don't know if I want to fuck with my ancestors. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if
I'm not touching
real
my
quick,
ancestors.
Actually, I had an idea. And
my ancestors were witches, so.
Our next miscellaneous episode is going to be on September 22nd, which is actually the autumn equinox.
That's what
So if we're interested, I was wondering if maybe after the miscellaneous episode in the Discord, maybe we could do like a group spell, like we can give the people in the Discord like a list of spell ingredients, and we can all kind of do it together.
That'd be
and
cool.
we can come up with something, and we'll walk everybody through it. And
That's fun.
I thought that might be a little fun thing since it happens to be on the equinox, right?
So where
Just
I was going next with my daily, like the daily practices, one that I think will be important for me going forward is more mindfulness around my internet usage and people's ability to affect me, impact me. And that's a lot more with intention setting. It's interesting that we're having this conversation today because on the Boss Level podcast earlier this week, I had a conversation with Psyche about intention setting with streaming and how much more you get out of a stream if you know what you want to produce in that stream. So if I just go live and I don't know what I'm going to do for the next 4 hours, then I'm going to do whatever I do, and it might be good, it might be bad, it might not be usable, and chat will probably control me a lot more. But if I go in with intentions about, I want to make sure, like the example I used was Stardew Valley. I want to, at the end of this stream, have picked out which bachelor or bachelorette I'm going to be romancing. So by the end of the stream, I need to go around and talk to every eligible bachelor and bachelorette and have a recorded reaction of me like reacting to that character. And I know at the end what I need at the end of the stream for my YouTube video or TikTok content or whatever. And I think that can also be applied to magic practice as well. Like knowing what you're putting in will give you better results. So we're talking about very specific, like I'm going into my stream, I very specifically want to have a video reaction to Abigail, Sebastian, Elliot, etc. I know specifically what that's going to look like. And so at the end of the stream, I've manifested that. Kiki getting her red slippers, right? And if I go into the stream without that, or if I go into the spell work just being like, I don't know, I just want good fortune, then what are you really going to get by the end of it? Like, you don't really know, and you're not going to know if it worked. You're not going to know. You're not going to recognize it when it pops up.
What does good fortune even mean to you?
Exactly.
It can mean
right?
so many things.
So that's another area. And then another thing that's been, like I talked about a bit at the start, but cleaning is I'm like a hobby cleaner at this point.
I love to clean.
I don't know where this came from because my kindergarten teacher, they gave awards to every student in the class, and my award was brightest girl with the messiest desk. It's in my blood. So I am now the brightest girl with the cleanest desk. And in some ways, it's like maybe she set me up for failure because from 5 years old, I was being told I was messy. So maybe it just manifested that I was messy. But
true.
now I'm like the opposite, to the point where I said people would probably think I'm anal, retentive, and a neat freak. And like I sweep every day in my room. I take the trash out. We don't have trash pickup here, so I take the trash out multiple times a week. I'm constantly dusting my desk. I have a routine for exactly when the litter box is emptied and changed. I have a routine. My laundry is done every day on Sunday now, and everything is and because of that, my mind is so. I'm not stressed about rolling my chair back and thinking I'm going to roll over 18 things that are in my floor. Do you know what I mean? I'm not having, and just doing that daily and having the thought, the mental change that it has on me, because now it's like, I've been making my bed every day. What?
Oh, forget that.
So that's new for me. That makes a change. This is totally new for me. And this has been for the last like 2 weeks. Every day I've been with a broken arm. Okay.
True.
But walking into my room, like I'll go to the kitchen to get a drink and I come back to my room, I open the door and I'm just like, wow, look at how awesome I am. Look how capable I am. Look at how organized, look at how in control. It's a control. Okay. All right. It's a control thing. Okay.
I mean, that is a good way to reclaim control.
That, like,
I wanted to mention this earlier when Panther had brought up the question of like, why do we do what we do or something. I can't remember exactly how the question was phrased, but I want to feel empowered. I want to feel like I have some sense of control. I have some sense of impact. I choose, not me doing it again. The Iron Giant, I'm sorry. You are who you choose to be. Like, you choose. And the Iron Giant could have been a villain.
The other day, this is just kind of related but unrelated, but it was whatever you're not changing, you are choosing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And it's
easy to settle.
It's a subtle subconscious acceptance of who you are. And so it's like I could wake up and just throw my clothes on the floor and not take a shower and not do, and I'm not walking like I want to be. I don't touch grass every day. Like, but when I do, I'm like, wow, this is who I want to be. You know what I mean? Like I want to live that way. So when I have those frames of reference, I can aim for those. And I think that's why it's called practice. And it's, you know what I mean? It's something you try to do a little bit better every time you do it. And eventually it becomes reality because it, that's imposter syndrome too. Fake it till you make it. And eventually it's a habit. I make my bed now without thinking about it. I'm doing my laundry without thinking. Sweeping is getting like, my floor is so clean at this point that I can feel like I take a step barefoot and I'm like, oh my God, if I don't sweep, this is going to drive me crazy because I feel that little crunchy that I just touched and I don't want it on my feet. Like it, and then everything shifts because now it's not, 4 or 5 years ago and I was living where I am now, like in this space, it was, sometime in the next week or two, I'm going to have to clean all of these clothes off of my floor and figure. And now it's not even that. Now it's like, well, I just swept yesterday. Do I really need to sweep again? It's completely evolved and I almost don't recognize myself anymore. And I'm sure that my friends from the party days back at the punk house would be like, who the fuck are you? But it feels really good. And for me, it's an empowering control thing, I suppose. And it is feeling.
And it's magical.
Yeah. And by being an empowered person in my daily practices of these little mundane things like sweeping my floor and blow drying my hair in a more mindful way and, analyzing my dreams and feeling a little bit more aware of the subconscious energy that I'm constantly exuding every day. And that's affecting my, like we even talked earlier, like I'm kinder to my car than I am to my body. That's a really big thing to be aware of. And it's becoming aware of these things that allow you to gently change them. And the gentle changes actually stick, which is what it's all boiling down to for me. And that's why I say, like, don't worry about these huge production rituals in the beginning. Don't worry about memorizing every card in the tarot deck in the beginning. Start gentle, ease yourself in, do a little bit every day, and eventually you're a master and you don't even realize it. Like, it takes time though. You have to be dedicated to doing this every day. It's a lifestyle. It's not,
The word that's ringing in my head as you're saying all this is embodiment, embodying the truth that you want to live. I think it's very common for a lot of people to have this ideal day to day. And I think embodiment is such like a passive action or maybe an actionable passiveness.
Ooh, fun words.
Like it's something that is soul deep. And now you're kind of taking it out and living in your truth, right? And because we hear so much like, oh, I wanna work out more. Oh, I wanna eat better. Oh, I wanna clean my room once a week. And instead of just like, I think there's some people that really benefit from the just do it mindset and just like, really getting bogged down with like motivational things. But I think more so thinking about it like, this is the person I want to be. I don't want to live a lie anymore. I don't want to live away from myself.
Wow. Was it you I was talking to about recently? Yeah. So I drew this card.
Satya?
I did Satya, truth. It's this card that I drew. I actually did a ritual, and I don't do them. I air quotes because that's the imposter syndrome, and I'm like ridiculing myself because I'm like, ugh. That's not a reflection on anyone else. That's me, making fun of myself, which needs to change, right? But and that's on mindfulness. But I'm attempting those. I got like an herb kit. I got some spell candles, and I'm trying to incorporate more of that into it. But I feel like if I go into it ignorant, then I'll make. And this is also what happened to me when I first started really exploring the dream world and astral projection and lucid dreaming. I was like, if I don't know what's happening, is something going to take over my body? like I'm out of my body. Something's going to move into it while I'm not there. I got control issues, man. I need a therapist.
That's what we learned today.
But I drew one card from an oracle deck I hardly ever use, and it was Satya, which is a really cool little elephant card, and it said truthfulness. And it confused me because I was trying to work on like a ritual or like a spell work that was going to like a road opener was what my intention was like moving me forward, clearing things out of my way that were holding me back, and allowing me to like have the momentum and energy to actually push into what I want to be doing, right? And this was in the last week or so, and now I'm making my bed every day. What the fuck? But the truthfulness card confused me because, and I said to Dukes the other day, I was like, I don't feel like I'm a liar. I don't feel like I'm like, but I think that the people pleasing in general that is a plague upon my existence. How did you phrase it, Dukes? You said saying no to
saying no when you mean yes, saying yes when you mean no. Those types of mindsets. It is a lie. It's a subtle one, but it's you not being true to yourself. When you make decisions like that. And I think that it's just so important to it's just always easier to live in your truth. Like, there's just so much less stress when you're just honest about how you're feeling. And I don't want to say, like, honesty and lying, I don't think are necessarily opposites. It's more so just, like, once again, I want to go back to the word embodiment. When I embody, like, who I want to be, it's so much easier to be like, no, I'm not really interested in doing that. Thank you, though. And instead of being like, yeah, okay, I'll try, I'll go to the thing, and setting myself up for failure, and it's all about like, and I think also like an extension of embodiment is like anchoring yourself in love, like loving yourself, respecting yourself enough to chase the things that you want to be close to and you want to be, capital B.
Yeah, I'm a really big fan of the word embody because I feel like everything that I do, I try to just like embody, like bringing spirituality into myself and bringing like me working towards my highest good. Like I try to embody all of that in everything I do, which is why it's like, how do you work every magic and spirituality into your everyday? And it's everything. Like I try to, I don't always succeed. I don't always do my best, my highest good. But like I try to bring that into it. I try to bring that into everything. So it's like everything I do is at least trying to embody that. Yeah.
Nope, I'm done.
Okay. I was going to say, we've gone really long for this episode.
We've gone really long.
So I think we're probably going to wrap it up here. We have so many different subjects that came up during this episode that I want to go into deeper. So if there was anything that y'all heard us touch on in this episode that you want to hear us do a deep dive in some of the coming months for the rest of 2022, you can let us know in chat here. It'd probably be better if you popped into the Discord server and let us know in the general chat there. If y'all are listening on podcasts, check out our website at celestialcafe.org, and there will be a link to the Discord server where you can join and let us know there. You can also find us on Instagram and Twitter, and we will be the video version of this goes up on YouTube. We do have our next date for an episode picked out. Panthera, do you have access to that? Our organized queen.
The 8th?
It's the 8th.
Is it the 8th?
Yes.
So the 8th
and the 22nd are our next two.
The 8th of September will be our next full moon episode. Do we know what
Thursday?
Do we know what sign that's in?
Pisces.
So full moon in Pisces, Thursday, the 8th of September will be our next. And then you said the 23rd was the next one?
The
22nd.
22nd.
So they're both on Thursdays this month.
So 22nd of September will be our next variety episode, and we'll pick one out of what y'all suggest here. I'd love to do one on dreamwork. But there's a lot of interest about it in the chat. So there always is. Everybody loves talking about dreams.
Yeah.
So I suppose that's it. I'm probably going to be live here on my channel for my first regular stream in a while. I'm going to try to do some Minecraft tomorrow. So that's what I got coming up in Hey Shady Ladyland. I do have my new OBS video, OBS for Beginners, a deep dive on every tiny thing I could possibly have ever learned about OBS.
Please watch it. She worked
Oh
her
my God,
ass off.
6 weeks. I've never
She
worked
almost
that.
lost it at one point.
I didn't even talk about that.
Oh my God.
I accidentally deleted the video footage and I had to get a program called Recuva to recover it on my hard drive. And I'm very lucky that it worked. But yeah, I don't know what I would have done. I probably would have. I literally was spiraling. I was like, I'm just going to delete my YouTube channel. I'm done. Yeah, that's what I got coming up in Shady Ladyland. And I'm actually going to be doing an Instagram reel, I think, of an unboxing of some crystals and candles and goodies that I got from Mystical Mars Candle Co., which is a streamer I've been friends with for a while. So that should be up on my Instagram, which is Hey Shady Lady, in the next couple of days. Yeah, what about you, Dukesley? What you got coming up?
My next stream is either going to be this Thursday or Friday. I'm looking at Friday. We're going to be doing some new moon tarot readings to celebrate this new moon in Virgo. Getting focused, getting a little brain cells going. That'll be fun. I'm also going to be streaming the Splatfest. Exciting. Team paper, by the way, forever. I know that everyone's going to be on Big Man's team, so I got a rep paper. And
Panther is like, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Just nod and smile, Panther.
Did you see the glaze over?
Just nod and smile.
You have to be on either team rock, paper, or scissors. I'm on team paper.
Yeah.
So because you get to
We
make
used to play
origami,
rock,
it's
paper,
sharp.
scissors, and then we had God.
Oh, guns. We had knives. That was fun too.
Should not be laughing this hard.
And by the end of this month, I'll have astrology readings on Phasey. So that's going to be really cool. It's the 23rd. So by the 31st, I will have astrology readings available on my website. I'm really excited. Also, thank you to anyone who participated in the Phasey sale. That helped me tremendously. So thank you all. Thanks for listening.
Fuchsia, what you got coming up?
So I'm working on YouTube videos. I mentioned at the beginning of stream this week I will have a Book of Shadows video. Next week I will have a book review. After that, the next video will probably be my review of the Cartomancy Anthology video game. So I've been playing through that and it's been nice.
Is it good?
And it's good. Yeah, and like so far what I've played is good. There have been a couple of games that have been unplayable, but there was just an update, so I think they just fixed them.
Cool.
So I have to go back and check. But yeah, it's good. It's so it's a game. It's an anthology of games that every game is about one tarot card of the major arcana, and it's really neat. So that's been fun. And so I'm just going to be making more YouTube videos. I'm excited because I'm done with my summer job, so I'm going to get back to making video game content reviews. Might make some Splatoon. Might go back to my roots of making Splatoon content, and definly more Animal Crossing videos, which I'm really excited about now that I have time to like sit down and record and edit. So just all the YouTube shenanigans over here. So
And Panthera, what about you?
So tomorrow I will be on 2 different places on Twitch. I will be live at 6:30 on NB Wild's channel for our ongoing D&D campaign, The Mark of Red Moon. If I recall which episode this is that's going live tomorrow, it's a doozy, and like some stuff is revealed about my character, Riley Renwood, the Blood Hunter. So there's some shit goes down. I'm so excited. And then later on that evening at 9 p.m. EST, I will be live on King Narcalius's channel doing a roleplay stream there. If you like fantasy role-playing content, D&D style stuff, it's essentially like that, but pure role-playing improv. It's so much fun. It's a great cast. Always a good time. So I will be on both of those tomorrow. I will be hosting both of them on my channel as well too. So if you want just a quick, easy way to find them, that's a great place to go. Also, I'm going on vacation this weekend, so I've got nothing like coming up, but hopefully going back to streaming next week. I've got some YouTube videos planned coming up. I've got one about petitions that's going to be going live. I've got a couple about Maven coming up, and then I'm going to be participating in a pretty big YouTube collab next month. It's like 15 YouTubers, all witchy YouTubers. We're all going to be making spells revolving around, I believe it's self-love, and we're also having to include like certain specific things.
Cool.
So
That's
it should be a pretty fun time. Yeah, I'm really excited for that. And also next month is my birthday, so I usually do a pretty big
Birthday.
Last year we did a like birthday subathon event, and it was a blast. So we'll probably
Cute.
do that again. I love to do readings with like Cards Against Humanity cards and Pokemon cards and Magic the Gathering stuff on my channel.
Fun.
So we'll probably do fun things like that for the special event stream. Yeah, it's always a good time. So if you like silly tarot readings, definitely check me out.
All right. So I suppose that's going to wrap us up here at Celestial Café. Thank you everyone so much for hanging out tonight. Thank you all for the lovely support and the wonderful conversation in the chat. We will see y'all again on the 8th of September for a new episode. And if y'all are listening on podcasting platforms, you can join us for the live recording at twitch.tv/HeyShadyLady. We go live around 7 p.m. Eastern on those Celestial Café nights. So hope we'll see you there. Thank you again to Crown and Caroline for the lovely prompts for today's episode. I suppose we'll see you on the next episode of Celestial Cafe. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Hey.